What the world? Oh, man!
SHW. This is our wrestling.
Unbelievable.
You think you could walk all over me, but I don't see that happening. We're warriors.
We told you anybody could show up here tonight. This crowd is going ballistic. Music that dog collar now just choking Huckabee and Ashton Starr, your new #1 contender. The Lynch Mob are your first ever SHW Tag Team Champions. You're kidding me. Logan Creed is in the action building. Unbelievable. I can't believe what we saw here tonight, folks. I mean, this is insane.
And now, the voices of Southern Honor Wrestling, Brandon Benefield and Gerard Bonner.
Hey everybody, what's going on? This is SHW. This is our wrestling episode. Gosh, what are we on? Like 11? Something like that, I think.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we are your SHW commentary team. The voices of SHW, if you will. It's me, B Double, alongside GB Gerard Bonner. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, everybody? How's everything going? It's another Friday. We're getting close. We're getting really close. Like, we're 8 days away from tickets going on sale for the return of SHW. The RumbleJack is coming August the 28th, and tickets go on sale, of course, next Saturday, August the 1st. So I'm pumped because that means we're back, and I'm excited. I'm so excited.
It has been a long time coming, my friend, and I cannot wait to see you in person.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm glad we started doing the weekly episodes here because it's at least been something. It's been some sort of way to kind of connect with the SHW fan base, the faithful, and just to reach out and have something for them, some sort of content to put out every week. But man, I miss seeing everybody in person. So I cannot wait till August 28th, the second annual SHW RumbleJack. It's going to be something else.
It is going to be something else. And, you know, we've been talking about who could potentially be in there. Of course, last week's guest, David Ali, if you guys missed it, go back and check it out because he'll be in the RumbleJack. And, I was paying attention to the comments, and I really don't know what's going on. So you're going to have to help me because there is this unique groundswell for this Hold My Beer Hansen. We talked a little bit about it last week before we went off the air. Now I'm even seeing people in the fan club saying he needs to be on the podcast. Is there something that I'm missing here?
I don't know, to be honest with you. And
Wow.
I'm trying to, again, I said this last week, we don't get all of the inside scoops. So
we really don't have a clue what's going on.
I really don't. And I don't know if he's secretly going to be there and we don't know, and this is all a work. And of course, so we don't always we kind of shoot here on this podcast is what I'm saying. So to pull the curtain back a little bit, I really don't know what's going on.
No clue.
I'm not trying to work anybody here. I just honestly don't know. But you're right. The fan support seems to get a little bit bigger each week. And thanks to DC posting his little daily Hold My Beer Hansen facts.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. So we'll see. But somebody that did get officially announced, Gary named a few when he was on with us a couple weeks ago. But somebody earlier this week officially on the SHW page, the captain, Sean Dean.
Ah, yes, the returning captain, Sean Dean, who I believe we last saw right around the anniversary or so, if my memory serves me correctly.
I believe it was the anniversary show, which was the War Games match, but he wasn't in the War Games match. He was actually out there with Logan Chase, and he went one-on-one with Ashton Starr.
That's right, because the month before he had attacked him on the first ever Petty Party. So, so an interesting connection there. And for those who don't know, the first ever Petty Party that night was my first time ever attending SHW.
That's right.
Very interesting connection there. And I was like, I knew I remembered Sean Dean. So,
and here's the thing. If you haven't seen those shows, you can go on IWTV. That's independentwrestling.tv. It's $10 a month. And you can see all the SHW shows that you've missed. And you get all caught up, binge watch them all, and catch up before August 28th at the RumbleJack.
That's right. You can do that. And of course, you can still get your first 5 days free by typing in the SHW code for that. And you can see the anniversary show, the show before the anniversary show, Sean Dean, all of these amazing folks that will be there. And you probably want to do that because you'll be familiar at that point with a lot of the folks that you're going to see for the RumbleJack coming up in just a few weeks, which is amazing. And remember, tickets are on sale in 8 days. I tell you what, I'm not nervous at all. In fact, I'm wondering, are we going to have enough room? Because I think people are going to come out of the woodworks for this.
I think so. I think everybody's been itching to get back, and I cannot wait. In fact, one of the shows that you could see if you go on IWTV is SHW Retaliation, which we affectionately called SHW 1000. Now, whether or not we get to the 1000 mark for this show, I don't know. But coincidentally, at that show was one of the times we saw the Ugly Ducklings perform for us at SHW. And I'm repping their shirt. You can find them on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Boom. Get some of that merch. And also, of course, like we say every week, a plethora of SHW roster members on Pro Wrestling Tees. And, of course, right after we recorded with him last week, David Ali, then he puts up his Pro Wrestling Tees store, and he didn't even plug it here on the show, so I'll plug it for him right now. David Ali now has a store on ProWrestlingTees.com, so go check that out as well. And by the way, Gerard, I don't know if you noticed, I put up some more decorations behind me. I got some 8x10.
Your setup is always the coolest because you have such a great plethora of just wrestling paraphernalia all over the place, man. So I see a couple of new pieces back there.
So, well, here's the thing. I've had all this stuff for years and years, and I thought, well, if we're going to start doing videos for these podcasts, why not put it to good use and throw it up in the background? So over here, you can see the lovely Nitro Girls.
How about that?
Circa 1998. A young 16-year-old B-Double got that while he was purchasing his tickets for Monday Nitro, which happened to be the January 4th, 1999 episode of Monday Nitro.
Oh, that's an infamous episode, if my memory serves me correctly. That was the infamous Finger Poke of Doom.
Finger Poke of Doom. It was also the night Tony Schiavone made the butts and seats comment.
Yes.
It was a big night. Which
a game-changing night for pro wrestling, actually.
Yeah, of course. I was there in person, so I didn't hear the comment until later and didn't even know at that time what the big deal was. And anyways, so I got an autograph from Whisper and Spice.
Nice.
You can imagine a young 16-year-old B-Double was very excited about that. In fact, Bill Goldberg was at that ticket. So if you go down to the box office at the Georgia Dome at the time, these guys were there signing autographs when he got the tickets.
Wow.
So I have a Goldberg 8x10 signed somewhere, but I went with the Spice. I mean, not the Spice Girls.
With the Spice Girls,
the Nitro Girls. The Nitro Girls. Got
That's
Macho
pretty
Man
epic,
over here.
though.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. But
that's pretty epic. Oh my god.
Anyways, these are some great photos, and that leads me to tonight's guest, who is one of the best wrestling photographers in the world, dare I say. He's the official photographer for SHW. He is our pal from Wrestling Snapshots, Corey Tatum. We got a chance to sit down with him, and here's what he had to say.
All right, guys, we are back with another fantastic interview. And what I love about this podcast series is we really get behind the scenes of what's happening in SHW. So I know a lot of you love seeing superstars, but a lot of the superstars you don't really get to see after the show without this guy. He is super important to what we do. And if you love the high production value and the great pictures that we get, one of the reasons why is because of this amazing gentleman who we're about to talk to right now. He is from Wrestling Snapshots. We call him Corey, but he's Corey Tatum. Corey, what's up, brother?
What's up? Hold on, I gotta get my snapshot going.
I love it. I love it. Man, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, doing great. So you got to tell me, man, we've been asking everybody who's been on the podcast, how has this quarantine been treating you? Because for you, you are a photographer who covers a lot of events. And so with the events being canceled or augmented or what have you, how have you been able to adjust to all of that?
Man, it's been pretty tough for me. It's like once a month, every Friday, I was going to do a show, and then I'd set up some promo shoots at my house or in my studio or something like that. And it went from this big to like gone. So
yeah,
I've had to try and find ways to occupy my time. Really just looking at the product, watching what people are doing, trying to stay, up to date on what everybody's doing and everything like that. So it's been tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty tough for me.
Yeah, I can imagine, because again, photography being something that you love, there has to be an event, particularly when you're an event photographer, that there's a certain kind of a rush that you get from that. So I'm going to tell you guys a secret.
Absolutely.
Most of you here don't know this, but I'm a photographer myself. So being that I understand, and I used to do a bunch of event photography a lot more prior to the last few years, but the event piece, there's a different kind of rush you get doing event photography than you do doing just still photography or portrait photography. Talk to people about what it's like to capture wrestling on film, because that's a much different ball game. People are moving much faster. You don't get second takes. So talk about kind of the art of capturing photos on that.
Man, that's a great question. It's crazy. It's really crazy, because it's one of those things where you really have to be on your toes. For me, it came kind of natural because of my background in news. So for people who don't know, I'm a news promotions editor, and so we've always had to cut things really, really fast. So I've always been the type of person to get things done quickly and just be there whenever I needed to be there. So I took that approach when I started shooting wrestling photography. And I started learning from some of the other photographers what they were doing, where they needed to stand. And it helps if you know the product. So because I know wrestling, I kind of can already gauge where people are going to be. So I make sure I'm like one step ahead of them. Now, that could always bite you in the butt. You want to go left, they go right, something like that. But you really got to make sure that you're just there on the spot when you need to be on the spot. Man, I have got some pictures that I didn't even know that I was going to be able to get. A lot of times I go and I take pictures and I'm not even sure what I captured until I get home. And I'm like, oh my God, I got that. Oh my God, I got that. Or someone will ask me, hey, did you get a shot of this? And I'm like, I think I did. I go back and I'm like, no, it didn't really happen. So it's tough. It's one of those things where you just have to be on your toes. I try to call myself Speedy Gonzalez, and some people always say, Corey's always there when you really need him to be there. And I don't know how he gets some of these things, but it's just, I don't know. Not quite sure how it happens.
I love that.
I want to say, like, every time we get done with an SHW show, like, of course, being on the commentary team, like, part of me is like excited. Like, I can't wait for the finished video to come out so we can go back and watch the video. But I am just as excited for a day or two later when the whole stream of 200 plus photos come out on the Facebook page that you take. And I get so excited to see what you capture, because it's always top notch, man. It's so good.
Thanks.
And you talked about being Speedy Gonzalez. I don't remember if it was the last show or it might have been a couple shows back. You came skidding into the commentary table at one point trying to catch you. And you I don't know if you lost your footing or you did some sort of crazy slide, but boom, you still got the shot. It was awesome.
So one of the best investments that I ever made with photography, other than my camera, is a pair of knee pads. And that came from another photographer, one of my mentors, who said, you should really buy some knee pads, because you're always on your knees when you're in the corner, stuff like that, but it helps when you're trying to get into position where you want to go. And I started doing that probably about a year ago, where I just do this slide move just to get into position where I need to be. Sometimes I go too far. Sometimes I don't land right. And what you're speaking of, I did not land right that day. And I've had situations where I didn't have knee pads, and it's a funny little story. Someone was drinking some beer or something like that at one of the shows. They spilled it on the floor, and I didn't know that they spilled it on the floor. And I came around the ring to catch a suicide dive, and I basically did a suicide dive of my own, going through the beer. But here's the key: I do like this, and I'm like, well, the camera's safe. My back may not be, but the camera's safe. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Well, man, let's give you some props here. Let's go back. I've seen you shot for WWE, you shot for AEW, shot Ring of Honor, New Japan. Of course, we know you best from SHW, everywhere in between. like, when did you get into specifically wrestling photography? Like, how did that start? Did you get approached, or was it something that you reached out to a promotion? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I kind of just reached out to a promotion. Basically, what happened was I've always, like I said, just paid attention to some of the camera people around the ring, from, WWE days and stuff like that. And I always thought, I'd love to do something like that. And I've always been the camera guy in my family, just taking pictures of the family and this, that, and the other. So I had a group of friends of mine that would get together and they would watch WWE pay-per-views. And so I was like, okay, this is cool, nice little community. One of them invited me, my really good friend Patrick Alvarez, invited me to a local show, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, back in 2015. And I'd never been to an indie show before.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, cool. I didn't know anybody on the card, nothing. I go in there, I watched the show. I brought my camera with me and was just taking pictures from the stand. Now then, I didn't know anything about shutter speed, anything about ISO, anything like that. Everything was pretty much blurry or whatever, but I had some pretty good shots, I thought. And so as the shows went on, I took more and more and more, and I reached out to the promoter. I met him that day when I was there, and I said, hey, I got a couple of pictures here. Would you mind using them? Do you want to use them for any kind of promotion or anything like that? His name is Josh Wheeler. Shout out to Josh. And so he said, yeah, sure, I'll use some of them. He used a couple of them. It just so happened, I said, well, if I get a little closer, I think my pictures might come out a little bit better. And he said, well, hey, our staff photographer is actually going on maternity leave. So why don't you give a shot one day while she's here, learn some things from her, and see what we can do. She went on maternity leave. I became the staff photographer for Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, and the rest is history. It all goes to Josh Wheeler at Murder One / Blacklist Uno, who gave me that shot back in 2015, and it's been history ever since then. I mean, it really has. Yeah, like you said, I've shot for Ring of Honor. I shoot for them exclusively anytime that they're in town. I shoot for Lucha Lucha Atlanta. I shot for Scenic City Invitational in Chattanooga. The Macon Towns Classic for Papa Hales.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm only aware of one SCI, and it's the Southern Cup Invitational. We were corrected on that when we had Gary Lamb on.
We were. I went back and watched.
The only reason I bring that up, but anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. Let's go ahead and give Gary a shout out here.
There we go.
He's the only one. He's the only one that is doing the SDI. So you're absolutely right. My apologies, sir.
You got the Gary Club shirt. I love it.
So yeah, just all over. Anybody that comes into town, basically, if I haven't shot for them, I always try to reach out and see if they need a new guy. And then, my portfolio kind of speaks for itself. But SHW has been my home for the last 2 years, and I mean, it's gotten me things that I've never thought that I would ever get, and I'm just so thankful for everything that Gary and Dylan have done for me. Dylan and I have gone back since 2015. Wow. I was shooting him at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, and we've been friends ever since then. And he called me up, and he was like, "Hey, I'm starting this new promotion, and I know your history. We have history." And he was like, "I'd love to bring you up as a photographer." And since that day on, man, it's been blessing after blessing after blessing. I mean, really awesome. Yeah.
I love that story for two reasons. One, it talks about the importance of preparation, how you always come prepared and you never know what's going to happen. And then number two, it talks about the power of relationship as well, which I think is super, super important. And again, what I love about these types of moments is it's about more than wrestling, right? It's about life. And I think those are two great principles that if people can just apply, they can find themselves almost anywhere moving into whatever their next is. I absolutely love that.
I've built some really great relationship with some other photographers. Speedy, who actually shoots for Atlanta, my bad, for AEW exclusively. I reached out to him a long time ago because I'm part of a wrestling photography community. And I said, look, I'd love for you to be my mentor. And we've been friends for years. And I think he is the best photographer out there. And I'm always trying to get to his level. And he says, don't try to get to my level, get to your own level. Be your own person, do your own thing. But there's nobody topping Speedy. But anyway,
Yeah.
you know, so I build that relationship with him, and I build that relationship with other photographers, because you just don't know who's going to be out, and you may go in, or who
Right.
can help you get to that next level. So
Right.
it's very important to me to make sure that I keep the relationships that I have, and I'm always trying to build new ones.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that is
Yeah.
so good. I love that. I love that. So
Yeah, man.
before you said you were also involved in news before. Tell us about your news career, because that's intriguing to me as well.
Okay, so I actually went to film school.
Oh,
I
wow.
graduated from film school back in 2000.
Where at
Yeah,
it?
it's in Yanceyville, North Carolina. Very
Wow.
small town, right outside of Danville, Virginia.
I went to
Okay,
Full
yeah.
Sail. I went to film school at Full Sail. So whenever I
Really?
hear
Okay.
whenever I hear
Nice.
film school, I'm like, oh, where'd you go?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been a student of film and television. You know, ever
Mhm.
since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And so I, you know, was in a television program in high school, and then went on to film school. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but editing has always been the thing for me. So
Okay.
I'm an editor for WSB TV, I'm a promotions editor for them.
Wow.
But my career has been through the Weather Channel. I was at the Weather Channel for 8 years. And then I went to some local companies doing some ad campaigns and marketing and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then I have my own YouTube channel, so I do all my editing and photography and, you know, stuff like that for my YouTube channel. So editing is my thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been nominated. I've been nominated for 3 Emmys.
Wow.
I have 2 Gabbies, and I can't remember the other award that
Do you have any
gotten,
Slammies?
No, I don't have any Slammies. Do they give
Oh.
Slammies out to photographers?
I don't know.
They should.
They
What in
should.
the world.
I don't know what kind of awards I can get as a wrestling photographer, but I'll take
Oh
one,
my
or at least I'll
gosh.
submit some stuff.
Well,
We'll
we
get
now
you
have
one
to,
at SHW. We'll come up with a Slammy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good to me.
We have to now announce you as the Emmy Award nominated, because
Hey, that's what it says on my resume.
there it is.
And it should.
And it
That's
should.
what it says.
I
Yeah,
gotta
man.
ask you this. So having shot so much, and a lot has happened in the world of pro wrestling since 2015. Tell us some of the most memorable moments that you've been able to capture. Because having covered a lot of events, you know, that could cover a lot of things, but I'm sure you've caught some pictures at some moments that have been like, wow. For you, tell us a couple of those standout moments that you've been able to capture.
So my favorite thing to capture is people in motion, like specifically in the air. So anytime I catch like a Spanish fly, anytime I catch like you know, any type of hurricanrana, any kind of you know, tope suicida, anything like that off the cage, anything like that, those are really my top moments. But then I also like mist. So Sue Young, I've actually caught her doing some mist a couple of times.
Wow.
Joe Black. Actually, one of my favorite photos that I've ever taken was of Joe Black doing the Kabuki mist to Jimmy Jacobs.
Wow.
Later Wrestling Entertainment. And it was green. And he did the mist, and I took all the color out except for the green mist.
Oh.
And it's just on Jimmy Jacobs' face, and it comes out of Joe Black's mouth. And it's one of the best photos that I've ever taken. Of course, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho when they came to SHW.
We were just talking about that earlier before you came on, because that's where we saw the Ugly Ducklings.
That's when we saw the Ugly Ducklings. And there's a great shot of one of the Ugly Ducklings doing their move in front of Kenny Omega, which I was glad that I was able to get that. There's so many, man. There's so many that I can't even remember. One of the other great ones that I have is when Cody Rhodes was here for AEW and he came off of the cage. And him just being in his hometown and everything like that, that was a great moment. Roman Reigns, when he was here for Raw and he announced that he was cancer free, that was a great moment of mine that I have him in the middle of the ring. So many. There's just so many. I can't even tell you. Tell you. Yeah.
Oh,
you know, a lot of times I don't even know that these things are going to happen. I mean, you know, when I go to shows sometimes, I may look at the rundown. I may talk to the promoter and be like, hey, where do I need to be? What kind of shots are actually going to happen that I need to capture? Somebody going to the table or somebody going off the top rope, blah, blah, blah. They'll tell me some of those spots, but really those moments aren't the ones that I capture, and then I think about the most. It's the ones in between that I don't know if what's going to happen. The ones that are unpredictable. So, you know, there's so many. Here's another great thing. My favorite thing to capture, which is extremely hard to do, is a ripple shot.
Like the chops?
Like the chops or the kicks to the chest, even to the face.
Yeah.
I have a great one. I think Ashton Starr is involved, and his chest looks like it's actually caving in.
Oh, wow.
Because they kicked him so hard.
Yeah.
Some to the face where somebody gets punched and their face just like kind of just ripples like a wave. Those are extremely tough to capture, and I've got
they are.
I've got several of those. Yeah, those are my favorites.
That it's amazing to me because in my limited time in photography, I can tell you one of the toughest things to do is to catch anybody in motion, you know, because I mean, you get one shot and you hit it or you miss it, which is crazy. Now, here's the other thing people don't know, and I want you to let them in on this. How many shots will you shoot in a given event? Because people will see like 200 that you posted, they're like, wow, you took a lot. But I'm going to guess that you took clearly a lot more. So in a given night, how many shots do you take for an event?
Take a guess.
I'm going to say 1,500 is my guess.
Yeah, I was going to go somewhere around 1,000 to 1,200.
Okay, so Brandon, you got the number without going over. It is round about anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000 pictures.
Wow.
A show. Depending on the show. If I shoot Ring of Honor, it could easily go above 2,000 because they shoot so many in one night.
Right.
But a regular SHW show, probably about 2,000. It's funny because I was talking to my mom about this the other day because she was going through her pictures on her phone. And she said, how many pictures do you actually take whenever you do a show? She asked the exact same question you guys did.
Wow.
I said, Ma, I don't know. I've never really added up how many pictures I have. Yesterday, I did a count on my hard drives. I have 3 hard drives that I back up with all of my pictures. And I did a count. This is exactly how many pictures I have on my hard drive.
Wow.
Within the last 5 years.
That's a big
wrestling photos.
That's a big hard drive because we're talking about big full-size images here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And, and that's with me even just deleting pictures, because there's a lot of stuff that, doesn't get touched at all. I'll take pictures and sometimes, they just don't come out, the flashes don't go off or something like that. But there's a reason why I call my camera a machine gun because of this sound right here. Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Wow.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. So,
you know what I just realized? Some people only listen to us. They don't always watch the video. So what was the number on the calculator again? Because the people that are just listening are like, I don't know what they're talking about.
At home,
right.
The number is 96,837 photos.
There you go. That's what we were oohing and ahhing about, folks, in case you were wondering.
Just shy of 100K. Amazing.
Just shy of 100K. Don't worry, I'll get that 100K, no problem.
Easily, right?
Oh, yeah.
Next event, you'll have that covered, I'm sure.
Yeah, but, I'll go and I'll take pictures. I come home, I download stuff no matter what time it is that I come home. I've got to immediately get it off my camera. Yeah. And the next 2 or 3 days, I just been going through and trying to find the right stuff to capture the event. A lot of times it's me capturing what I want to see, but most of the times it's what you guys want to see or what the wrestlers want to see. 9 times out of 10, I know a wrestler's going to call me or send me a text like, hey, did you get this shot or did you get that shot? But it's not even, it's about the wrestlers too, but it's also about the fans. It's also about the commentators. It's about the workers. It's about the promoters. I've got great shots of Gary. I've got great shots of Dylan. I've got great shots of the audio team. I've got great shots of you guys. So it's all of that. I need to be able to capture everyone who's involved in one event to allow that promoter to tell people, hey, you need to come to our show because we're all a family. We all do this together. So this is what we have to bring to the table,
Oh,
that's awesome.
I love it. I love it.
I've got pictures of some of the Ring of Honor fans, like a wide shot of the Ring of Honor fans that are all over their website. You know, stuff in New York Times and stuff like that. Like, you know, I've got all that kind of stuff because it's important for people to see themselves. I mean, you know, I've only got like maybe 3 pictures of myself that another photographer has taken. And some of them I lost, and I was like, "Where's that picture? I want to use it as a profile or for a business card or something." And I don't like necessarily having my picture taken, but the rare times that people have caught me in the act of doing what I do, I really cherish those moments.
Yeah, and you mentioned fans at ROH. Well, that's one thing I hear from SHW fans when they go back and look at the photos from the show from that Friday. They get excited too, because when you have the crowd shots or even the shots in of the action in the ring, but you can still pick them. They can pick themselves out in the crowd, and they get excited to see that kind of stuff. And of course, like you said, you got pictures of Gerard and myself, and we get excited to see those because those things are great photos. And we're like, oh man, and there's like, what were we talking about? It was when Ashton won the title for all of 20 minutes. But the reactions that we had, and Gerard especially, like we were like little kids. You know, we were like little kids when he won the title.
That's one of my favorite pictures, by the way. Like it, and I don't mean to interrupt, but what I love is we were so in the moment, and the moment I think of a great photographer is the photographer is somewhat invisible, but catches these moments that you didn't like. I didn't even realize you were there because I was like, oh my God, what's happening here? And so for you to catch that was just, I was like, he's amazing. He's amazing.
I have eyes everywhere, man. I'm just like, and I don't necessarily, you know, a lot of people when they shoot, they're always here.
Right.
And I try to be there as much as I can be, but you really can't see everything and everyone. It's not just the people inside of the ring. So I'm constantly looking to find reaction shots or whatever. And if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. But at least I would try to get that. And so when you had that expression on your face, I was just like, this is a moment right here that I have to capture, you know?
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of those. There was one of Faye when she was yelling at somebody. And she just came out of nowhere. There's one of there was the girl who she went up against Danny Jordan. I think her name was Heidi
Katrina.
And she's with a fan, and the fan is like cussing her out, and she's just standing there like this, like, can you believe this chick over here?
That was SHW 1000. Yeah.
That was so good. I mean, there's so many. There's so many. And
one of my favorites. Oh yeah, go ahead.
The kid, no, I was just gonna say that the kids, man. I mean, they love seeing their picture taken too. You know, I take their pictures at the meet and greets. I take their pictures just standing there looking at, you know, stuff, because that was me when I was a kid, you know, watching stuff like that. So I'm sure that they would like to have that moment too. I was doing a show for Mucha Lucha one time, and they have lots of kids there. And I was getting ready to shoot some of the entrances that were coming out, and I was just, you know, checking out my camera, making sure my settings were right. And this little girl comes up to me and she said, I've seen you at all these shows. She said, can I have your autograph?
Wow.
And I actually signed her hat that she had.
That's
and
awesome.
I had no clue people were even little kids like that were paying me attention. She was like, yeah, you took a picture of me and this and that. I was like, you know, thanks. Wow. I really appreciate that. And I signed her hat. So, you know, somebody's paying attention.
So you hear that?
Absolutely.
Do you hear that, SHW universe? Next time we're at a show and you see Corey and he's not in the middle of taking photos, he will sign autographs.
Yes.
Yeah, I will. I'll sign autographs and kiss babies. I don't know.
Yes.
and you can get photos with him. Actually.
Yes. Yeah, you can take a photo with me if you want to. Sure.
One of my favorites, I was going to say a second ago, and it was actually from, I think, the last show that we did, which it's hard to believe that it was, 3 or 4 months ago. But it was when Danny Jordan was coming to join us on commentary.
Oh, yeah.
It was right before she sat down, and I'm kind of doing like a funny face, and Gerard's making a face, and she's just kind of grinning at the camera. I love that picture because that encapsulates the relationship we have with Danny Jordan. It was just perfect. It was perfect.
Oh gosh,
she's awesome. Yeah,
I love that. I'm curious. So, where can people find, like, if they wanted to see your body of work and things? Where can they find that?
Well, strictly, most of my photos are all on Facebook. On Wrestling Snapshots on Facebook. Yeah. You can see all my albums there. Some of them you can find under my personal account, Corey Tatum. You can also find them on my Instagram page, Wrestling Snapshots. Yeah. And you can also find them on my Twitter page under Edit Photo Gamer. Most of them, though, they're all on my Facebook page. If it's SHW, they'll go on their page, but I try to post them on mine as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see about making a website and try and putting stuff up there as well, so I can get places where people actually buy the photos if you want to.
Sure.
Right now, I mean, if you see a picture on my website, you want to use it for something, just give me a shout out and I'll hook you up. But that's where you can find them.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, of all the years, you said you first started doing wrestling photography, 2015, right?
Yeah.
So, in the 5 years since you started, out of all the promotions you've been to, which there's been a plethora of promotions, whether they've been the big boys, whether it's been an indie promotion, does anything stick out to you, like funny story, crazy story, maybe one of the craziest things you may have witnessed, whether it was backstage or during the show, anything that comes to mind that you might could share with us that you feel safe, comfortable sharing with us, that won't get you in any trouble?
Okay, so I've got a couple. This was in 2017. I was doing kayfabe is a thing, okay?
Yeah.
Kayfabe is a thing.
Yeah.
And until I started shooting photos, I didn't really know that it was a thing. I didn't know anything about kayfabe. Even when I first started shooting, I didn't know anything about kayfabe, okay? And so in 2017, I was working for Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment for a couple of years, and Chip Day, who I'm a huge fan of, and the first picture that I ever took of at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment officially was Chip Day, handing out T-shirts.
He was in last year's RumbleJack, by the way.
He was in last year's RumbleJack, which really blew my mind.
It blew a lot of people's minds, for sure.
Wow.
I hadn't seen Chip in a long time. I'm really good friends with Chip, but I haven't seen him in a long time. And so to see someone from my past come with the people of my future, I'm just like, wow, what's going on?
Yeah.
So anyway, so in 2017, I was doing a documentary for Chip Day. And it was just basically talking about how he was coming up in the ranks and he was getting ready to achieve the Georgia Wrestling Crown from Martin Stone, AKA Danny Burch. And so I was doing this 3-part documentary with him. This was the moment that I thought he was really going to capture the Georgia Wrestling Crown. So I wanted to get it all for this documentary. And his mom was there, his stepdad was there, his whole family was there to watch this match. And it was a phenomenal match. Well, he lost the match, and I had my camera shooting this documentary, and Danny Burch is standing there, and he's cutting a promo and trying to tell Chip to come to his side, because Chip was with the hierarchy, who was the heels. And he said, come on, you don't need them, you can come to my side, blah, 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 blah. And so Danny turns heel, and they all gang up on Chip. And he's like, you guys thought you had this. You thought, da, da, da. He's cutting this promo. And then he says, and you decided to get a fan to do a documentary on you. And I'm like, why are you calling me? I have nothing to do with the storyline. And they said, Corey Tatum and blah, blah. And Murder comes over there and he says, Corey, did we F up your documentary in front of I got this all on camera.
Oh my God.
Did we F up your documentary? I hope that we did. And he grabs my camera and he starts to videotape Chip Day beaten up in the ring. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
A, am I going to get my camera back?
Right.
B, I'm not part of this storyline. And C, what's going to happen after the show is over? I was scared. I was literally scared. And these are people that I knew, and these are people that we hung out, and and I didn't know what was going on. So that was a moment in 2017.
Wow.
See, that would make me nervous, because like a lot of you don't think that these guys realize how expensive this gear is. And so like when you see Jericho sometimes grab the camera and he's like trying to film with it, and it always makes me nervous, because I'm sure the camera guy is going like, oh my God, please don't drop that. Please don't drop that. $5,000. Please don't drop that. And like when Lindsay Snow got thrown into our audio gear, and you got pictures of that the last show too, I was lost. Because I was like, one rule I have that I tell all the wrestlers: please stay away from the commentary table because it's all of my personal expensive gear.
Right.
I'm like, please, just whatever you do. There's a perfectly good unused table by the ring announcer, Diana Michelle. You can go through that table, but just not mine.
You've seen it all the time. You've seen Jericho and some other people mush the video camera guy whenever they're going past with they're angry about something. That's happened to me several times, and it freaks me out. It freaks me out. And so that's happened a couple times. Kayfabe, as far as like going backstage and seeing certain people, it was twice as bad when I worked for Lucha Atlanta because a lot of them didn't have their masks on. And so I'm going backstage going, who am I supposed to see this? Like,
right.
Am I really supposed to see what Pentagon looks like? Is I really supposed to see what Ray looks like? I'm not sure if this is a good thing or not. So there was a lot of that. And then, of course, the moment that Gary called me and told me that Kenny Omega was going to be at the show, I thought I was going to piss my pants. Like,
we all did.
Kenny Omega is by far probably my favorite wrestler, like of all time.
Wow.
And I'm a huge Kenny Omega fan. And he sent me a message and he said, Corey, are you going to be at the show? Blah, blah, blah. I said, yes. He said, I have something huge that nobody was going to believe is going to happen. And I said, he said, you can't tell anyone. And I was like, I'm not going to tell you. And he said, can I call you? And at this point, Gary had never called me.
Right.
He said, can I call you? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he calls me and he said, dude, Kenny Omega's going to show up at the show. Gary,
sure.
Look, Gary, you are a pastor. You should not be lying. Okay.
Right.
You should not be lying. And he said, no, I'm serious. He was like, Kenny Omega's going to be at the show. And he said, not only Kenny Omega, but Chris Jericho too. I was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And so that show made me the most nervous that I've ever been because I didn't know. He didn't tell me details. He didn't say what was going to happen. He didn't say anything. Dylan didn't tell me what was going to happen, what the storyline was, nothing. And so I'm there, and the whole night I'm just wondering, I'm like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And I've now used 2 flashes now on each side of the ring just to kind of get a little bit more lighting going on. And so the whole night I'm wondering, please don't let my lights go out. Please don't let my batteries die.
Right.
So I brought extra. I'm changing things. I'm doing this because I don't know when the moment's going to happen. I'm not taking as many photos as I normally take. You know, that 2000 was not going to happen that night because I needed those extra 100 to get Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And when those lights went out and that music hit, I was like, no way. And I didn't know where I needed to be. And so I just kind of scooted to the side wherever I needed to be and then got the shots that I needed to get. And they were tweeted by Chris Jericho. They were tweeted by AEW.
That was so
tweeted
cool.
by everybody. I was totally floored. And I personally don't think that they were really that great shots. I personally don't feel like I got what I really wanted to get.
Wow.
But it made somebody happy, and it made the news everywhere. And I was just like, that's a moment that I will never forget.
Wow.
At all. And a funny moment just because Gary called me and told me that, and I thought a pastor was lying to me.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way this is happening. So, you know.
Well, a couple things. I think we're all a little bit like that about ourselves. We're like, we don't think our work is as good as we think it could be. But let me just tell you from the other side of it, we're looking at those photos. Those were some fantastic photos. So, but we're the same way. I mean, Gerard and I are the same way. Like we'll be like self-critical from time to time. But you talked about being nervous for that show once you knew who was going to be there. Well, I was the same way because calling commentary, I'm thinking like, oh my God, these are the 2 biggest wrestlers in the world today. One of the current greatest out there, and then one of the greatest of all time. And not only that, but Cody Rhodes was there, and AEW was just about to have their first pay-per-view, which was the Double or Nothing. And so this was like a teaser for Double or Nothing that they were doing at our show. It was insane. And so, I was a little bit nervous. And, and here's the thing, too. After the fact, I was kicking myself because I felt like I botched the whole Jericho surprise, because at the time, Gerard, you were there when we were on the stage. We used to be on the stage where the commentary table was. So when the lights go out over the ring and over the crowd, we can still see the stage, like we can still see the entrance from the stage. So the lights go out, and you're not supposed to be surprised until the lights come back on and he's already standing in the ring. Well, my fat mouth, as soon as the lights go out, he runs right by the commentary table.
Yep.
I'm immediately going, it's Chris Jericho, and we're freaking out on commentary. But then when you go back and watch it on video, it doesn't have that same oomph, because we kind of did it before the lights even came on. So I just remember like being so nervous about it, and then like going back and watching and kicking myself, going, "Oh, you idiot!" Because I'm used to, like, if you're watching it at home on TV, you see it when the lights come back on, and then boom, there's a surprise. Well, when you're there live and he runs right in front of you, it's hard not to freak out at the moment. So anyways.
I had that same moment. I mean, they were both in the ring at the same time, and Kenny Omega is pointing to Jericho, and I should have thought, hey, wouldn't it be nice if both of them were in the same shot together? No, I'm sitting here going, oh my God, it's Kenny Omega. And I'm like, and so I have great moments of him doing like this, but you don't see who the hell he's pointing at. And I'm like, I don't know. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. There's a great shot of him, doing the snap suplex. It's not a problem. It's totally fine. So, but, it's one of those things where you just have to, just take every moment that's there and just realize that you're a professional. You can get what you need to get. It's like I said, I'm my worst critic. I know you guys are your worst critic. Everybody is. But that shows how professional that you really are. If you start to get complacent, and you don't really try to get to the next level or get just a little bit better. I'm not saying go from like, oh, I'm shooting, 5 photos to 1,000, or, oh, I'm, using this small little camera and now I got to get this really big giant one. Just little tiny little baby steps. That's how you get better. That's how you improve. That's how you develop really good self-confidence in yourself, and then you could also get booked by whoever is out there. That's how your craft gets better, is if you are your own self-critic. A lot of people, they kind of bash that, and they're like, I wish I wasn't my own self-critic. I wish I was the greatest, blah, blah. It's like you're only as good. They say you're only as good as your last shot. I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. I never think that I'm as good as my last shot. I'm always better than my last shot.
Wow.
I don't care how many times I shoot SHW. I've been shooting SHW for the last 2 years, and every single show, I'm like, how could I top that last one? I've shot Danny Jordan, I don't know how many times. How could I make her look better? How could I make Ashton look better? How could I make Dylan look better? How can I make Logan look better? How can I make, Gary posts the same picture of himself all the time in that red jacket or whatever. And I'm like, I need new pictures of Gary. I need to make Gary look better. It's not that he doesn't look good. I just need to make him look better so it makes myself look better.
First of all, his ego's big enough. You don't need to tell him he looks good.
No.
He knows.
Yeah, no, he can get his ego a little bit bigger. Like
that's funny.
He's okay. That's why I'm wearing this shirt tonight, man. I got
there it is.
Gary,
There you go.
That's my man.
I love it.
What are your thoughts? You talked about talked about Danny Jordan, and of course, we've said it numerous times. Danny and several others have appeared on AEW, whether it's been Dark or Dynamite. Like, how cool is that, knowing these guys from SHW and from other Atlanta indie promotions? How cool is it seeing them on the big stage?
I am so proud of every single one of them that has been up there, man. When I first heard about Danny showing up on Dynamite and she was going up against Nyla Rose, I was like, what?
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The things that Sean Dean is doing right now, the things that David Ali's gone up there and done right now, Lee Johnson. Like, every time I hear somebody that came out of SHW going up there, I'm like, I hope that I had something to do with them getting to where they are. And if I haven't, at least I was there when they were on their journey. And I feel so proud of every single thing that they have done since they moved on to that company. And so many other people who need to be there. There's so many people up there who need
Joe
to be
Black.
there.
Joe Black.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great conversation I had with Gary on Joe Black, where I was like, dude, I said, you gotta bring Joe Black up here. And he was like, okay. And then his first night, he was like, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And I said, trust me. Trust me. Watch this. And that night, after it was over, he was like, dude, you were not joking about Joe Black. And I'm like, Joe Black, he needs everything.
Yes.
Joe Black deserves everything that he is going to get. He deserves everything.
And I want to say, was that the second or third SHW show? Because he wasn't there from the very beginning, but I think
yeah,
it was like
he wasn't
second
from
or
the
third show, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was something.
And
like
he's been here ever since, and he's been a fan favorite ever since, which is awesome.
He is way over with SHW, and he's gonna go so far, so far, man, so far. But yes, everyone who's up there at AEW, I am so proud of them. You know, I've told them when we've done, you know, private sessions and just talks and stuff like that, and I've said, you know what, you are a star. You have a lot of potential. You have a lot of things coming. And they're like, thanks, you know, I appreciate that. And I send them pictures all the time. I, you know, show them this, that, and the other, and tell them things that I think that maybe they should improve or they shouldn't improve. If they listen to me, they listen to me. If they don't. But, you know, there's just so much there that I'm glad that they're able to showcase it for the millions and millions of people to see. You know?
I love that. I love that.
It's great. It's great, man. Danny, he's my favorite. Danny's awesome.
So let me ask you this: as we prepare to come back, of course, for RumbleJack in a couple of weeks, and a lot of other wrestling promotions are really starting to get back into what they're doing. How do you think things are changing, even for you getting back into, you know, wrestling events as they come back? Do you think anything will be different? If so, what do you think that'll be?
I mean, you talk about dealing with this whole COVID-19 thing.
Well, I mean, but there's that, but then there's also, I mean, for me, I think about between COVID-19, but also the idea that I don't think any of us ever thought that we wouldn't be able to attend a wrestling event, you know? So do you think the wrestlers will be different? Do you think fans will be different? What do you think it's going to be like?
I think it's going to be one of those things that's going to be just like a giant explosion, right? Because you're going to have wrestlers who have been building up this energy for all these months and things that they've been wanting to showcase and things that it's almost like a tryout. It's almost like a brand new tryout for some of these people. Wow. You know, some people that fans have heard of and have never seen, they're going to want to go out and go seek those people out. Some people who they've heard of, but they want to see how they've grown, if they've still got it.
Right.
You know, so it's really going to be a showcase of the wrestlers to show the things that they haven't been able to show for the last several months that they've been working on, or show that they still have it. And then the fans going, oh my God, A, I can't believe that I missed this as much as I did. Or B, you know, I'm glad that I have this in my life. You know, it's an outlet for a lot of people. Wrestling's always been an outlet for me. You know, whether being depressed or anything like that, I've always looked at wrestling as an outlet to get away from real life. So for me, it's like I can't wait for it to come back because I feel like there's something missing. I feel like there is a void missing in my life to see what superheroes are like, see what relationships are like, see what all that type of stuff is like. You know, we're all family. You know, a lot of these people I call family, you know, they're like friends to me, they're like family to me, and I miss seeing them. You know, so it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be really, really great when it comes back in the full set. I really do.
We say that every single week about the family thing. Like, we miss our SHW family so much. And so as soon as a few weeks ago when Gary made the announcement about August 28th, I mean, we were just like giddy, man. We were so excited. So you're exactly right. And we can't wait to get back, and we can't wait to see you finally, because we haven't, you know, we've talked a little bit here and there, but we haven't seen you in person since the last show. I haven't seen Gerard in person since the last show.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
We're just excited to see everybody. So, but man, we don't want to keep you. I know we could talk to you all night about your experience and the stories you might have, but we got to let you go here. But we appreciate you coming on with us, man. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
They could always look for me on social Wrestling Snapshots on Facebook, Instagram, and Edit Photo Gamer on Twitter. I will say that my finger is ready to be used on the trigger of my camera. I am ready to start texting Gary on Wednesdays before the show and say, "Is it Friday yet?" I'm ready. I'm ready to start making that drive to Canton, Georgia.
Yes.
You know, there is a playlist that I play. It's so crazy.
Oh, wow.
There's a playlist that I play every single Friday when I'm driving to Canton, Georgia. So I start at the beginning and I finish it when I get home in the evening. And believe it or not, this is going to sound really crazy. It is the soundtrack to A Star Is Born from 2018.
Wow.
With Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. And I will listen to that from the first track until it's time for me to come home, and it gets me energized. I'm ready to listen to that playlist again.
Wow.
You know, I'm ready to give hugs to all of my friends and all the wrestlers and fans and whoever. I'm ready to give you guys fist bumps, whatever I got to do.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yes.
It's one of those things, man. I didn't know how much I missed it until this happened.
Yeah.
You know, I've taken a month here off or a month there off to go on a cruise or something like that, and somebody else has filled in for me. And I do miss it, and I'm like, I can't believe somebody else is there. I hope they don't take my spot. But then when you go for 4 months of not doing this at all, you really just, it's an old age saying, man, you don't know till it's gone, man. You don't know how much you love till it's gone. That's one of these things that's happened to me is I didn't know how much I loved it as much as I do until it's gone.
Wow.
Wow. We are all right there with you, buddy, and we cannot wait to see you August 28th. Again, Gerard, tickets on sale August 1st, right?
That's right. Tickets are on sale on August the 1st. You guys get ready because it's going to be crazy. We'll be there. Corey will absolutely be there covering the RumbleJack. It's going to be crazy. Corey, man, it's amazing to have you on. Thank you for joining us, man. And we can't wait to see you on the 28th, buddy.
Hey, man, thank you guys for letting me join. I really, really appreciate you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. I listen to you guys and I watch you guys all the time. Always been a fan since day one. So y'all keep doing your thing, man.
Thank you, buddy. Take care. We'll see you real soon.
All right, brother.
All right.
Well, there you have it. The man behind Wrestling Snapshots, Corey Tatum. That was a really cool interview.
It really, really was, and learned a lot. And again, I don't think that people often think about what happens behind the scenes with folks like Corey, but he's so responsible for, again, the continuity of the product that we have. It's not just, the production on the night of or what people see on independentwrestling.tv, but these photos, the caliber and quality of it, makes our social media look amazing. And it's so super cool to be able to talk to him and really get his input on things. I loved it. It was fantastic.
And it was a neat departure from what we normally do. Normally we have the wrestlers on here and we're getting like a wrestler perspective, with the exception of having Gary on, who is not a wrestler, although he is in the ring a few times and taking some bumps. But this was cool to have just a different perspective, a photographer's perspective on what he does and some of his stories from behind the scenes and being on the road. It's just a really cool guy. So we could have talked to him for forever telling stories, but I tell you what, we got to wrap it up this week. But one more time, we got to announce again the on sale date, which you already know is August 1st. But that's what, like 2 weeks from now? No,
we're about 8 days from now. 8 days from now, August the 1st. Tickets for SHW RumbleJack go on sale, our return. Super excited about it. It's going down August the 28th. My suggestion is day one. Get your ticket because, as I've said before, normally on day one, first row, second row are already done. But with this 4 months that we've been out, I think people are itching to get back. And so we're going to have a situation for August the 28th. So get your tickets early. You're going to need to do that to get in the building for sure.
If they're anything like us, then they're chomping at the bit to get back to the Action Building for an SHW show because we have been excited ever since the date was announced. So
that's right.
August 1st, 8 days from now, SouthernHonorWrestling.com is where you grab those tickets once again. So, until then, this has been SHW.
This is our wrestling.
We'll see you guys real soon.
Oh, yeah.